Good afternoon, good morning, or if you're from far away, good evening. Thank you for joining us today for this webinar. This webinar is brought to you by SOSTA, and we're happy to have Lowe's, Office Depot, and Intellix here with us today. Our webinar topic today is turning digital performance into competitive advantage. And again, it's sponsored by SOSTA, and we're here today to bring you a lot of really great information about how you can improve your digital properties performance. Today, you're going to learn some key concepts behind what we call digital performance management and why it's so important to your organization. You'll learn why it's really critical to your success as you move forward, especially as we continue to be a more and more hyper-connected world. You'll also learn about the benefits you'll see by adopting digital performance for your business, and to discover DPM-related best practices that you can leverage to really boost things when it comes to the digital assets in your organization. We're very happy today to be joined by Jason Bloomberg, president of Intellix and a Forbes contributor. Jason, thank you for being here with us today.
It's my pleasure.
We also have Trey Kistler joining us. He's the director of e-commerce IT at Lowe's. We'll be introducing Trey a little later on in this broadcast. And same with Mr. Eric Leon. He is the performance engineering team lead for Office Depot. I'm Scott Lowe. I'm the partner at Actual Tech Media, and I will be your moderator for today's discussion. Before we continue on, I want to make sure you're aware that in the GoToWebinar control panel, you're going to see one panel there called Questions. If you have any questions you'd like to ask of any of today's presenters throughout today's webinar, please ask it in the Questions control panel. At the end of today's event, we'll be asking our presenters any of the questions that you've decided to ask in the Questions control panel. Make very liberal use of that control panel. It's a lot more interesting for the presenters, and it's to be able to answer some questions. And it's very useful for the audience to be able to see some of the challenges that some of their peers might be facing in the realm of digital performance management. And without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Jason. He's going to talk to you in general terms about digital performance management. Jason, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you very much, Scott. Let's see if I can get this slide to advance. There we are. Oop, a little too far. Okay, so what is digital performance really about? Well, it's really about money, right? That's really what business boils down to. And the relationship between time and money is really what performance is all about. So start with a couple examples. Walmart, right, largest retailer on the planet, had challenges with their website where many seconds to load for some of the users. They realized the problem was too many page elements, too many third-party scripts, too many different hosts serving up these various elements. So by getting a handle on their web performance, they were able to improve their performance and realize that every 1 second of load time equals a 2% conversion rate increase. And for a company the size of Walmart, that represents quite a bit of money. Another great example, the Obama campaign, right? They were tasked with raising massive quantities of money, and they realized that they could improve performance by serving pages via a content delivery network, but they also realized that they could, by improving performance, they could increase their donation conversion rate by 49%, raising over $1 billion as a result. So, what is digital performance management? Well, let's start off with that word digital. So if somebody had asked me what word to use there, I wouldn't have picked the word digital because, of course, the word digital has been with us for 70 years now, right? It means computers that use ones and zeros. Those are digital computers. But we have this new we've brushed off the old term and given it some new life and new meaning. And this is really how Intellix sees the word digital. Customer preferences and behavior drive enterprise technology decisions. So digital begins with the customer, and the reason why we're talking about technology at all is because customers are driving organizations to improve and change the way they implement technology to meet customer preferences and behavior. So when we talk about digital performance, what we mean is that the end-to-end behavior of customer-facing systems must meet these customer demands for speed and functionality. And the key term here is end-to-end, right? One of the key challenges with digital, you don't want to fall into the trap of thinking it is solely about the interface. Yes, the interface, the touch points, whether it's mobile or web, are critically important, but everything has to work from the front to the back in order to provide that digital experience for the customer. So then what is digital performance management? Well, it's management in a holistic and continuous way. So by holistic, we mean we're talking about the big picture of IT performance on the technology side, customer experience in terms of what the end user is actually experiencing, and the business outcomes, right? As we saw with the Walmart and Obama campaign examples, business outcomes translate customer experience into revenues or other business performance metrics. In the context of e-commerce, it's about conversions on that e-commerce website. So on this slide, we're basically talking about how digital performance management is a natural evolution of application performance management. APM has been around for a few decades now, focusing on application level performance issues as opposed to network and underlying infrastructure issues. And now we're taking that to the next level with web and mobile and all the various touch points and connecting application performance management to the actual end user experience. And that's the role that web and mobile testing plays. So actually connecting the dots between the end user and the underlying applications. Then the third piece is business transaction monitoring, which gets back to that the key factor in digital performance, which is the business metrics, whether it's e-commerce conversions or whatever the key business goal is. You want to be able to monitor that the transactions that you are putting into place achieves those business goals. So from the customer perspective, we have a number of different things going on, and this is a critically important part of the story, right? On the one hand, users are interacting with some sort of touch point, but there's really more to the digital story than just that point of interaction. So one key element of this is the customer journey, right? That it's not just an interaction when the customer comes to a website, but it's all the interactions between a customer and a company over time. So the customer may follow an ad to come to the website the first time, and they may come back to the website or go to a mobile app the next time. The third time may be the time they actually purchase something. Then they receive something, maybe receive a package in the mail. That's a touch point. They may have customer service issues. They may come into the store either to buy something else or to return something or for some sort of support, or they may call a call center. And then there's an ongoing upsell and resell as well. And all of these are part of the customer journey. So you don't want to assume that one interaction, right, they're coming to the website and buying something, is the total sum of your interactions with the customer. So all of those interactions that are part of the customer experience. So yes, the web performance, the mobile performance is critically important when that is how you're reaching out to your customers, but call centers are also important. Their in-person interaction is important, and that's one of the key challenges with the two retailers we have on the call, right? Lowe's and Office Depot. Yes, they have also well known for their retail brick and mortar efforts, and those have to be properly coordinated. So all of that is part of the story. So what is the result? Well, you want your customers to be happy. Of course, we can all just take off our business hat and put on our consumer hat, and we realize when we interact with a big company, whether it's a large retailer or any other big company, we want a delightful experience. We want to have good products. We want to have good service. If there's a problem, we want it taken care of. We want the big company to understand us and understand our needs, and all of this is part of that coherently customer-centric journey that is so difficult for big companies to achieve, but the critically important part of this digital story. So, one of the key parts of the story now as well is the explosion of touch points. So we're all pretty much familiar with the fact that people have laptops and desktop computers, and now they've added smartphones, and now we have tablets and various formats of tablets and phablets, and so there's big and small, and there's Android and iOS, and there's native apps and mobile web. But even that is not the whole story, right? We also have, for example, interactions when people are watching television. So there's the set-top box, and that's becoming increasingly sophisticated in supporting e-commerce and other transactions. We have gaming platforms, and those have in-game purchasing, and that can be a part of the story. And then when a customer comes into a retail establishment, they are interacting with salespeople who may have point-of-sale systems in a traditional sense, or they may be carrying around mobile devices that act as customer touch points. Or the customer may bring in a mobile phone into the store and maybe interacting, say, with barcodes or shelf tags with their phone. That's becoming increasingly part of this mobile story, or the digital story. So this is and this keeps going, right? Whether it's digital signage or retail beacons in retail that know when a customer walks by. We've only just started this journey toward explosion of customer touchpoints, and all of this is part of the digital story. So where does digital performance management fit into this broader scheme of things? Well, this slide comes from Intellix's new poster, the Agile Digital Transformation Roadmap poster, which you can get at agiledigitaltransformation.com. And what you see in the middle there is digital business performance management, emphasizing that it's about that business interaction within the broader context, right? It supports DevOps efforts in the software development organizations. It's big data related. You notice the lower right, machine learning feeds into this. That's a critically important part of the story. Governance from the upper left is a part of the story, and it supports real-time behavior in the context of real-time interactions with customers. So there's this very broad interrelated, tangled web of digital technologies and digital business priorities that are all part of the digital performance management story. And digital performance management as well supports this broader story, right? You really can't have all the other pieces working unless you support the performance goals of the organization. So this is all part of the story. So digital performance management, then on the one hand, we have customer experience. What is the actual experience from that customer perspective when they're interacting with the website, with the mobile device, or with any other touch point for the organization? IT performance, critically important part of the story that is end-to-end and covers many different participants because so many enterprise websites have multiple tags and ads and widgets in them. They're all served up by third parties, and then it's running over a content delivery network, which is another third party, and some of the elements may be in the cloud, which may be still more third parties. All of this has to be performing, and that's a part of the IT performance story. And then the point of the triangle, business outcome. Right? All of this technology is for a purpose, and that is to achieve the goals of the business, to drive purchasing decisions, to drive revenues, or better customer support, happier customers. It all ties down to the bottom line priorities of the organization. And all of this is a central part of the digital performance story. So what are you actually measuring when you're doing digital performance management? Well, they're obviously the business metrics. In the e-commerce context, we have conversion rates, cart abandonment rates, order value size. But keep in mind, the world is not just about e-commerce, right? This applies to other organizations that have different business priorities. So it could be, patient satisfaction in healthcare, or it could be manufacturing metrics in a manufacturing organization in terms of, reducing defects and maintaining the schedule of the manufacturing assembly line. So it could be any number of different business metrics. We have customer experience metrics, which are focus on pages per visit, visit paths, click-through rates, and other metrics that are important to understand just how good the customer experience actually is. And then from the IT perspective, we have page load time, site availability, and other technical metrics, including third-party compliance. And that's a key part of the story since there are so many participants in this digital story. It's very rarely just one company serving pages to its customers. There are many different parties, and managing service level agreements with those third parties is a key part of the digital story as well. So the goal then is continuous real-time visibility and control that balances measurement, right? You can't manage what you can. Optimization, over time, you want to continue to improve your performance. Shaving just fractions of seconds off of response times ties straight to the bottom line. So optimization is a critical part of the story. And then testing, right? You can't get the results you want unless you have the appropriate testing. And I know we've already heard some of that. Trey already talked a bit about testing as well and how important that is for the digital story.
Excellent. So hello, everyone. My name is Trey Kistler. I'm a director here, a solutions director here at Lowe's, responsible for Lowe's.com, m.lowes.com, and our APIs that drive our digital properties. Just to give you a little more about Lowe's, I can get the slide to move forward. There we go. So Lowe's is a Fortune 500 company. We're currently ranked number 47, headquartered in Mooresville, North Carolina, which is just outside of Charlotte, North Carolina. 2015 company sales totaled just short of $60 billion at 59.1. With a recent acquisition of Rona, which is a large chain of home improvement stores in Canada, we're now at more than 2,355 stores in U.S., Canada, and Mexico. We serve more than 17 million customers each and every week, and the digital space and e-commerce are a very top priority for this company, which we'll talk about a little bit here in another slide. So this article, or this slide, highlights an interview with our CEO, Robert Niblock. In this interview, he outlines omni-channel retail as our company's core strategy. Digital is at the heart of that focus, and this creates a greater need to understand our customer interactions and drive performance of our digital properties. So to drive the digital experience, we are working to build a Lowe's Digital Performance Center of Excellence. This team is helping us to drive excellent omnichannel customer experience driven by real user monitoring. So we're using real user interactions to drive experience on the website. We're leveraging actionable analytics to increase revenue and agility. So real-time forensic analytics on first and third-party resources, and predictive analytics to forecast what our customers need and want to see from our digital experiences. We're working to achieve higher quality testing and reduced risk through actual customer interactions. So we're leveraging data that we collect around how our customers use our website to drive what we test for before we move changes to production. And we're focused on a single source of truth. So advanced real-time visualization, correlated insights across business and DevOps, and monitoring that helps analyze our performance and our customer interactions. And that results in a war room at all time to address any issues and any customer impacts that may show themselves. So this next slide is a picture of one of our operations rooms. This is one of the tools we use to monitor our platform and collect user interactions. You can see a quote here from my VP of Digital. Our data changes every day. That makes data science the key. So what he's talking about is really how important knowing our customers and knowing our data and knowing the performance of our assets is to Lowe's. So data not only helps us find technical problems, but also identify conversion impact when those problems arise. Real-time data is key to knowing our customers' needs and understanding reactions to the changes we make and how those impact our customers. So our approach to DPM. So Lowe's really focuses on 4 areas: metrics, people, process, and technology. In metrics, we look for real user engagement and consistently monitor the performance of our assets. On the people front, we take our business objectives and align our IT capacity to accomplishing those objectives. In the process space, we're continuously testing and measuring what we do. And performance is always a requirement. We don't go into an effort without considering performance, considering the impact it may have on our site, considering capacity additions to our properties. Performance is basically a requirement of what we do and is required to be measured and analyzed before we move a change to production. And in the technology space, we leverage SOSA's end-to-end DPM platform, and we automate wherever possible, leveraging open source such as Jenkins to help drive efficiencies across our development practices. So we've seen some very good benefits out of this approach. First and foremost is availability. Obviously, that's key to our success. High availability is driven by executing the right tests at the right time. Every minute of downtime or unavailability of our properties impacts not only the bottom line but also our brand. And we focus on understanding the correlation between availability response time and its impact on sales, so that not only are we working on availability, but we're also working on reducing response times of our website, to tie back to the slide that Jason was talking about. Huge focus on real-time results. We're leveraging SOSA's Impulse toolset to help drive real-time data, but this helps us know how our site is performing at all times, as well as what's important to our customers. And we use this data to make smart decisions. We target a strong customer focus to help drive those decisions. And in addition, making performance part of our culture is key. Performance cannot be an afterthought. It can't come in at the end of your project. So we focus on better planning, strong focus, and this ultimately leads to reduced costs when dealing with performance issues. So out of that, the one thing to take away is really make performance part of your culture. Performance has to be first and foremost on every thought, on every project, on every effort. Performance can't be an afterthought. Testing is very expensive. Test the right thing the first time, so know your data, know your customers, know what interactions they're going to have with your properties. Actual customer interactions should drive those decisions, so being able to quantify what is happening at any given time and predict what may change with your change is key to maintaining that performance. Every day is a Black Friday, so treat every day as if it's your peak day. So always test to your peak performance metrics, and always know that you can maintain those stats, that performance. And always make sure you have visibility into marketing, promotions, and campaigns, as those can drive flash sales, large events that could drive performance problems across your properties. And with that, I think I hand it over to Eric.
And thanks again for having me here today. My name is Eric Leon. I am the lead performance engineer for Office Depot North America and worldwide. Really an honor to have these minutes with you today. Let me go to the first slide. Okay, so we're the 194th in the Fortune 500. We're headquartered in Boca, Florida. Approximately $14 billion in annual sales. We operate out of 1,800 retail stores in 59 countries. Award-winning e-commerce sites. We employ about 49,000 plus associates, and we also operate under the Office Max, Grand & Toy, and Viking brands. All right, so Office Depot's digital transformation. So you guys can see the slide. So let me just tell you a little bit about our story. So back in our day, our performance testing team was embedded deep in the QA organization. Our testing was basically just push button, really the analog age for us. We would schedule load tests, invite different parties to monitor their respective areas. We report out any issues, but our main focus really was the front-end response times. The testing team didn't have much visibility, so we relied heavily on other teams to tell us what was wrong. For us, this was costly, not efficient, really because we didn't have access to their tools. Also, in those days, the testing tools that we did have, we could only really test from one geographic location, Redwood City, California, and really what all that was doing was allowing us to crush our CDN in that one area, not really a load test per se, or a performance test. At that time, we ran a POC with SOSTA and Cloud Test, which was already using the cloud to deploy load test generators. So this was awesome for us. Not only did we not have to finance additional hardware for testing servers and infrastructure, but we no longer had a limitation on the amount of users we were able to inject to our sites, really opening the door for true performance testing. That single item of user count opened up the opportunity for really simulate, for instance, Black Friday testing or peak season preparation testing, which we weren't really able to do in the past with the kind of volume that we had on our site. It was really cost prohibitive with that previous tool. Today we're part of the e-commerce operations team with access to real-time metrics to front-end server, back-end server, database server, and all of the other support systems to our website. This has streamlined our testing cycle. We're now the focal point for complete round-trip response times. So we tell them, we tell the other organizations what, where they need to look for performance degradations, if there's any, to make recommendations as to how to solve those. Our performance testing team has really evolved in that respect. Now we're also moving to an automated load test creation by the use of the Sunburst reports that will model and create better real user test cases. This will be molded right from our real user traffic, and this moves us into the digital age. So Carl, our SVP, our Senior Vice President, had a quote here. Today's challenge, we have a ton of data, and we don't know what it's telling us. So to expand on Carl's quote, we do have a lot of data from real-time user metrics, synthetic, APM tools, Core Metrics, several others, but until lately, we really didn't have a central analysis tool that could really help us correlate all that data. Data Science Workbench has filled that hole for us. Really now we're able to take all that data and see how performance is working in real time, how it's affecting conversion, how our campaigns are performing, are they on the right landing pages, what are those landing pages, are those landing pages optimized, and what are those landing pages telling us. So it's all about taking the data and correlating it all to make better decisions to truly positively impact our bottom line. So real-time campaign tracking. So one of the features we found very unique and relevant when talking about campaign management was understanding the difference between machine learning and baselining. Everyone's familiar with baseline alerting. It's basically used to monitor CPU, threads, those kind of items. But with machine learning, what we have now been able to do is use our own historical data to build a model that we can action on. So if a campaign is performing out of the norm, we can reactively amend to inspire conversion. So basically, if it's tanking, we can send out an addition to that campaign. So in order to drive up that conversion, and at the same time, if a campaign is doing too good, we want to make sure that we don't have a $99 printer offered at 99 cents. And we alert on any of that. We want to alert on all of that because we want to stay, we want to perform better, but we want to make sure we catch those outliers. And on this slide, how Office Depot leverage DPM, I think on this slide, the most important takeaway that I can share with you is to have alignment between the different e-commerce related teams in your organization. For example, the business team uses tracking pixels and core metrics tags on our web pages. But do they really understand the cost of those resources on our performance? Do we know that performance is directly related to conversion? So while yes, we're able to offer more personalized experience in customers with the use of tags and pixels, are those same resources costing us on conversion? Meaning, are the effect they're trying to have negatively impacted because they're weighing down the page speed? Again, Data Science Workbench has helped us here, along with Impulse, is able to really report daily on those on how those are performing and their impact to conversion. And any breach in that SLA can be discussed with those proper parties or even third parties. Benefits gained and expected. So here, when Office Depot talks about third-party performance, we have to hold them accountable to the SLAs that are expected on our page loads. Some third-party resources are synchronous, which means they will wait for the previous resource to load, while others are asynchronous and load simultaneously with others. Well, we're currently taking that data science and to really help us understand the impact of that impact to customers and response times. We really believe that the asynchronous resource should also load within the page SLA. I know that most will tell you, it does not affect customer experience, but what we're doing is we want to take that and see how it's really affecting the overall conversion. And the one thing, and there's Curly again, correlate web performance with revenue, align with business, focus on revenue and get real-time insights. And the one big thing that we had to understand is not only about page performance, it's all about revenue performance. With monitoring real-time campaigns in our doc and setting up the correlating alerts, we expect to really make a splash on our financial performance this year. And with that, I turn it back to you.
Thank you very much, Eric, for that. And I also love Curly, so that was really great to see him actually make an appearance here in your deck. And for the audience, we want to remind you that the Q&A control panel is available for you to ask questions throughout this presentation, and we're going to take in some questions right now. So a number of questions here around the audio issue we had earlier, so we're going to ignore those. But for the panelists, do you measure perceived performance as well as actual performance? And if you're on mute, make sure you come off mute.
Yeah, so this is Trey. Yes, we measure both. Use perceived as a higher metric in terms of how the site is currently doing.
For the people who may not be familiar with what that actually means, can you kind of give a brief overview of the difference between perceived and actual performance and how that may manifest itself?
Yeah, so perceived performance for us is when the page is usable by the customer and what is in front of you is rendered. So there may be activities going on lower in the page out of sight, or there may be back-end calls that are happening to continue rendering aspects of the site.
Excellent. What other? Now remember, folks, we have some experts here that can talk to you about digital performance management, overall questions regarding website performance and things like that. So please make sure you make liberal use of the panel. We have another question here. What's different that SOSTA is bringing that you didn't have before that was creating some challenges? And maybe Trey, maybe you can kind of weigh in on that a little bit.
Sure. So first, it's really the real-time view. The data that's collected by Impulse is not a compressed view of the data. It is every interaction that is collected off your digital asset. So that's huge. If you look at some of the other tools out there, they compress on a time scale. So every day, every week, every month, there's more compression. So the further back you look, the less accurate your data is. So that was huge. Tying that data back to the test cases that are actually running your performance testing has been huge. And really SOSTA helped us not necessarily launch our performance practice, but really mature our performance practice several years ago when we adopted the tool set.
And Eric, what's your answer to that question? What's SOSTA bringing to the table that was really lacking before?
I think from our perspective, and we learn this time and time again, pretty much on a weekly basis, is that they continue to move forward and surge ahead with technology. Anytime we bring any new requirements to SOSTA, they're always eager to find that solution and really deliver on that product. I believe I don't believe, I experienced it with previous vendors. We didn't get that. It was pretty much, here's the tool and this is what you have. We really feel that SOSTA has really become a great partner of ours in that respect to continue to move forward with our technology to better increase performance.
Another question here. How are you testing mobile app performance for your various properties? And let's send that over to Eric this time.
As far as ask me that question one more time, just to make sure I had it right. Sorry.
Sure. How are you testing mobile app performance?
Mobile app performance, we're testing it same as we would our full render version of our website. We calculate the number of sessions that we create in a month or a week or a day, and simulate those load tests accordingly.
And what about Trey? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so for measuring performance, we're measuring the API calls that come out of the application, and then we have some other tech built into the app that helps us monitor. But specifically for testing the apps, we use Touch Test, which is another SOSTA tool.
Excellent. We have another one here, and this is a really important question because we all want to see, um, whenever we do anything new in technology, the first question that gets asked is, what's it going to cost and what's going to be the return? So the question, and I'll start with you, Trey, is have you been able to quantify the improvement in actual revenue gained based on the implementation of digital performance management tools from SOSTA?
So we do have some metrics around that, but if my PR guys were sitting here, they'd yell at me for answering that question. So I'm going to have to defer on that one.
Okay, so the answer, but the answer from a yes/no perspective is yes. You just can't provide the numbers.
Yes.
Okay, what about Eric?
Yeah, we can definitely see the benefits of. We can definitely correlate that. As a matter of fact, we're able to really tell what a half-second performance gain does for our page in conversion. We're really able to set that standard actually, and really without giving a number. But yes.
Excellent. So Eric, I'm going to come back to you for just a second here. From a mobile app performance perspective, there's a clarification question, which are you referring to the device site or to the back-end site? He may not. I'm not sure if he's asking the question appropriately.
If it means am I testing the native app, I'm testing the m.officedepot.com, not the actual application.
Got it. Another question is for Jason. How has the e-commerce industry really adopted this idea of digital performance? What are they? I mean, how are they reacting to this, and what are they doing?
Well, I think the two case studies at the beginning really highlight what's going on. That anybody who is selling things online is realizing how critically important even fractions of a second are to the conversion numbers. So for the larger retailers, the money can be dramatic. So it's really now becoming sort of a race to the fastest, right? Who can build the fastest, best experience for customers, realizing that it's a competitive landscape, and you always have to think about what the competition is doing, and you want to do it a little bit better. And for many retailers, the competition, number one on the list is going to be Amazon. So it's sort of everybody versus Amazon, regardless of the category, right? Because Amazon just sells in so many categories that retailers are looking at what Amazon is doing, how fast Amazon is doing, and then making sure that they can be at least in the same ballpark, if not faster and more performant in other ways, better experience overall, comparing themselves to Amazon. So it'd be sort of interesting. I don't know if the two folks on this call, if they think of that Amazon, it's like them against Amazon, or is it more of a sort of multiple competitor situation? That's sort of an interesting question.
On the screen for the audience, you're going to see a paper that Jason has written. It's available for download from the link you see on your screen. It is a free download, so if you're interested in learning about how to steer your enterprise right when it comes to digital performance management, please make sure you download that paper. Also, we're going to be putting some more links up on the screen here while we continue Q&A. I would highly recommend you take some screenshots here so you can refer to these links later on. I'll leave this one up here for a few more seconds. And I'm going to ask you, Trey, before SOSTA, what were you doing with regard to all this stuff? I mean, had you cobbled together tools? I mean, you don't have to name names, but what were some of the challenges that were leading you to look for something? I mean, you've described them a little bit, but in a little bit deeper way, like what are some specific things you were experiencing?
So we actually had two providers before SOSTA that we were using, and really what drew us to SOSTA was the competitive price of the model and the distributed view of the traffic. So the fact that you were more geographically dispersed with the size and traffic that we throw at our site was very appealing, and that was ultimately why we made the switch.
Eric, was that similar for you, or were you facing other challenges?
Oh, I think you hit it right on the head. Really, it was the distribution and the cost. It was much more cost effective with an unlimited number of users that we could actually transact on the website. It gave us a stronger visibility, and really, when you really push your servers in any direction, you really come out with a more clear picture of what is the weakest link. And that's what we needed to do, and that's what we were able to do.
Excellent. So SOSTA helped you sort of understand what that weakest link was in your on your various properties.
Exactly.
Excellent. We have another question from the audience. This is around wanting to be able to try and see what SOSTA can do for them. So the question is, can I get started with some kind of a test? My understanding is that there's a product that they had called Cloud Test on Demand. Jenny, can you unmute for just a second and sort of mention that to the answer that question for the audience?
Yeah, you bet. So if you were to come to our website today, check out our product section. We do have a product called Cloud Test on Demand, and this allows you to actually use our product for a one-time project and test it out and pressure test for your particular environment and customize it for your needs.
Thank you very much. And if you have other questions, this is your last chance to ask them for the few experts we have on the line right now. So we encourage you to do that. And while we're waiting for that, I'm going to bring up the next page here. This is the one with lots of other resources that you can leverage to figure out ways that you can improve your own digital performance management organization. SOSTA does have a comprehensive blog that talks about performance. They also have some future webinars and past recorded webinars that if you have an interest in this topic, you should definitely sign up for or watch if they're previous webinars. And they'll also do a free one-on-one website performance assessment. So they'll basically work with you and look at where things might be going wrong and where you might be leaving money on the table when it comes to website performance. So make sure you take a screenshot of this screen because there's pretty important stuff here, particularly if you're responsible for this kind of stuff in your organization. We will include in the follow-up email to this webinar all of these links as well. So if you don't have screen snipping tool in front of you, you'll be able to just click the link shortly. And I believe that's all the questions that we have right now. We're going to do one last thing, which is to give away Actual Tech Media is doing a $300 Amazon gift card for a lucky winner. And today's lucky winner is Nick Noble. We'll be reaching out to you after the event, and we'll give you instructions on how to get your $300 gift card. Thank you to all of our presenters for being here today. Thank you, SOSTA, for sponsoring this webinar. And thank you to our audience for participating. Everyone, have a great day.